day and welcome to this episode of Focus On with myself, Palesa, Mofokeng. The annual Southern Africa-Europe CEO Dialogue reached its 10th edition. This two-day event attracts CEOs and influential leaders in the public and private sector to strengthen strategic business relationships between the European and Southern Africa regions. Joining me now in studio for more on this discussion is Pietro Mininni, who is the CEO of the European House Ambrosetti Africa. Pietro, thank you so much for your time. Now, the South Africa-Europe CEO Dialogue is now celebrating 10 years this year. Firstly, I want to say congratulations on reaching this huge milestone. Take us through some of your key highlights and lowlights.
Thank you so much, and thank you for inviting me. We are also delighted to have for the 10th anniversary CNBC Africa on board. We have an important panel on how CEOs view the future of African business that will be broadcasted by CNBC Africa. And you will also have an opportunity to moderate a political discussion that will be taking place later in the afternoon. The event is celebrating the 10th anniversary. And we are very happy about our presence in South Africa and in the region. So is after 10 years, you have really an opportunity to assess what we have been able to achieve so far. The event is taking place in Johannesburg in a famous hotel. We will have more than 200 CEOs in attendance. International media and the key leaders from business and from politics.
Now, what's the purpose for this year's summit?
So really the goal has not changed over the years. We want to build bridges between South Africa, Southern Africa, Europe, and also the rest of the world. So this year, for the first time, we will have also key CEOs and ambassadors also from other countries. So from Asia, from Americas, from the Middle East, also from Africa, from Sub-Saharan Africa, and very happy for that. The focus is also to draw positive attention on this specific region of the world. We think that from a business point of view is a very good one, is a very good market. We experience, quite political stability, growing middle class, solid financial and banking sector, also infrastructure and advanced manufacturing industry. So we want also to contribute to branding more this region internationally. And the focus is also to understand what could be the key economic and business opportunities where South Africa, Southern Africa and Europe can work more together in the future.
So as you aim to advance, the sectors that you've just mentioned now, manufacturing and infrastructure, how exactly do you plan to achieve this year that you haven't reached in the past 9 years?
So the event is a global platform for CEOs only, and sometimes we discover after years that during our events some deals were signed. So it's quite also a confidential, event where CEOs interact also on a private basis. Yes, I mentioned before some of the sectors that we developed. Of course, there is a pharmaceutical, the energy sector, agro-industry. So with our think tank, with our organization, also we aim to map what are the key business opportunities on the ground, not only in South Africa, but also in the region. So also thanks to our other collateral initiatives we have, namely the CEO Community African Chapter, which is our CEO club, which meets every 2 months. We have ongoing engagements under Chatham House rule, not only in South Africa, but also in other countries. I remember a delegation to Harare a couple of years ago, to Maputo last year. So we have, those kind of interactions and regular engagement that also help us to understand more what is happening on the ground.
So, Pietro, just in the last 10 years, which sectors would you say have attracted the most investment, or which sectors have recorded the most growth?
Well, I can say very clearly that automotive is a key sector in South Africa, where global collaboration is promoted with a public-private approach. For sure. Also energy, all the efforts to attract investments in the renewables, for example, is another area that, of course, over the years were very much encouraged, from our business community. So these are the two key, areas, and of course, because of COVID, we saw pharmaceuticals, what could be the role of international players to foster also the local production and to develop regional value chains. So these are some of the things that came into my mind.
I see. So you say you've attracted 200 CEOs and influential leaders from both the public and private sector this year. What are some of the conversations we can look forward to?
So I would like to stress a lot the fact that we are hosting on day 2 of the summit an event on doing business in the Gauteng. So what we keep saying to companies is that Gauteng is an hub for the African continent. Ultimately gives an opportunity to companies also to penetrate the rest of the region. So it's a key investment destination in the African continent. Gauteng and Johannesburg, of course. Other topics that we'll discuss, also the African geopolitical investment and business outlook, with key individuals speaking in that session as well. We will have also a plenary session on agro-industry, on what are the key areas to further develop this industry in Southern Africa. And in the afternoon, we will also have an important session on energy transition and critical raw materials.
And are you doing anything specifically to also, target your small media enterprises, just to ensure that they're not left behind?
Oh yes, SMEs, also digital economy, access to credit are cross-cutting topics. So are the fil rouge of every session. So we pay a lot of attention to these critical topics for the future of a more inclusive economy. And on day 2, we will also host a session with the young business leaders, because they are also the future of South Africa and Southern Africa long-term growth.
So, Pietro, also, this is a forum where political and business leaders convene and seek ways to strengthen their strategic relationships. Would you say the forum has been successful in achieving this mandate?
I think so. I mean, the 10th anniversary is, gives clearly the fact that the event took place every year. Also because the response from the African counterpart was a very good one. The first 2 editions had a more bilateral basis, Italy, South Africa. Then we enlarged the geographical scope to Southern Africa and to Europe. And we are considering, starting from next year, to enlarge even more the geographical scope, also because there are, as I said before, regions, markets that from the rest of the world that want to come on board. So I think is also because of our company, is demonstrated consistency, perseverance in doing business in this region. So we don't run away. Yeah. Also during COVID we were here, and I'm very glad to say that in 2020, also in 2021, one day before that Omicron was announced, we were here. And so I think this kind of commitment is quite acknowledged and appreciated by the businesses and institutions.
So you say this dialogue is a special high-level political discussion on the state of South Africa, and there will be leaders of including the EFF, Action SA, the Democratic Alliance, so on and so forth. Why was this important? Given that South Africa is heading to the polls next year.
We are also, our Ambrosetti is a neutral, politically neutral organization. So we have very good relationships with with the ruling party, with the opposition, with also rising political stars. And we thought that before the elections we could launch a high-level debate that as I said before, will be moderated by CNBC Africa with the representatives of the most important political parties to discuss about the future of South Africa. What to expect also with the elections next year, where we stand at international level, also what are the urgent actions required to tackle unemployment and fight against poverty, also to, what could be the agenda for a better country.
And Pietro, do you say, or would you say this will not be another talk shop? We'll see some actions?
Well, first of all, to have also a frank debate could be also very interesting. And as I said, the values of the event is also to promote and to encourage dialogue between people, between CEOs, between people coming from all around the world to better understand what is happening on the ground, and also to meet key leaders. So the ultimate goal is also to create trust and personal feeling with people that are also very complex to catch.
So outside of the business leaders here and your high-level political leaders, who else is invited?
So we will have a gala dinner on Thursday evening with the Minister of Justice, Ronald Lamola, who will intervene on the topic of how the judicial system can contribute to the economic performance. I think is a great topic nowadays, and so I don't want to disclose also the other confirmed speakers. We are going to send a press release in the next coming hours, but I would like to stress that we have a 360 view on the issues. So not only business, there is also other key areas that we think are important for the future also of the economy, like justice, for example.
All right. Well, Pietro, that's how we will wrap up our conversation for today. And that was Pietro Mininni, who is the CEO of the European House Ambrosetti Africa. That's how we wrap up this episode of Focus On with myself, Palesa Mofokeng. But until then, it's goodbye for now.